Hello, good afternoon, good evening to some of you. Thank you for joining, and we are really glad for those who have managed to join us on time. We are just giving it a few minutes for more participants to join in, including the
Bon après-midi,
journalists
merci à
from
ceux
the
qui
different
ont
media
déjà
houses,
rejoint.
and
Nous
then we're
allons
going to
attendre encore
begin.
quelques minutes.
Thank you all for making
Kwa
it in time,
eh,
and we'll soon begin
vituo
the
mbalimbali vya
conference.
utangazaji. Asante sana na nasubiri tutaanza mkutano.
After that, then we're going to give you an opportunity for a few minutes to respond and maybe ask questions. For the journalists in the house, that will be opportunity to raise your questions for clarity and further information. So I welcome you all and thank you all for being a part of this. I believe we have a number of different civil society organizations present today, together with other stakeholders, including representatives of different partner states. That is the government representatives, but also we are taking note of the presence of some of the development partners that we work with closely, and also taking note of the representation of also some of the different REX representatives, that is the East Africa community and SADC as well. This goes also without saying the great appreciation of the presence of the different journalists from the different media houses.
Watangazaji kutoka mashirika mbalimbali ya utangazaji. Nashukuru kwamba mmefika na mmetoa wakati. Nafikiri
you've made the time to join. So karibuni sana, and in case of anything that you'll need us to learn or know, you can go into the chat and share your comments and share your thoughts or questions, and we'll be reading them. Thank you again. And at this juncture, I would like to begin reading the press release at hand. So karibu, I believe my brother Lebo, you're online, just checking. Lebo? Perfect.
Hello. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you. I'm glad you're online. So soon we'll be reading this press statement together. So please be alert so that you don't take up much of the time. So again, as I already introduced myself for the new participants joining, my name is Ms. Lillian Alex, the Chief Executive Officer at the East African Civil Society Organizations Forum, an umbrella body for the civil society in East Africa region. And today we are glad to have you or invite you into this press release session where we are actually going to be speaking, or rather reading a statement that was developed by joint organizations from the Eastern and Southern civil society organizations. And before I begin reading this statement, I just wanted to recognize them by name for those in this joint statement. And also to highlight and mention that there is going to be an open statement again for any other organization that needs or feels the need that they want to be part of this statement can also sign to. But primarily just to recognize by name the organizations that have jointly developed this statement. I would read them by names, and that is the first one is the Center for Study of Violence and Reconciliation. And then secondly, the East Africa Civil Society Organizations Forum. Third, we have the East Africa Community Think Tank Association. And fourth, we have the East African Law Society. Fifth is the Institutes of Justice and Reconciliation. Sixth is the Pan-African Lawyers Union. And seventh is the Civil Society of Congo. 8 is the Southern African Council of NGOs. 9 is the Southern African Development Community Lawyers Association. And finally, the 10th is Women's International Peace Center. Again, as I said earlier, we will definitely ensure that we open up the statement more for more organizations to sign on to the statement. So this statement is actually being released today prior or in preparation of the upcoming EAC-SADC summit that is set to take place tomorrow in Dar es Salaam. That is the 8th of February, 2025. That is set to take place in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania tomorrow. So I'll just go ahead and read the statement as it says, and that is the civil society organizations across the East African, East and Southern African call for urgent action to protect civilians in Democratic Republic of Congo today on the 7th of February 2025 in response to the escalating humanitarian crisis in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Civil society organizations from East and Southern Africa have issued a joint call to leaders to the African Union, East African Community, and the Southern African Development Community for immediate action. The worsening situation has led to mass displacement, indiscriminate attacks on civilians, famine, and a surge in sexual and gender-based violence. Further to this, in the recent capture of Goma and by armed groups, has heightened regional tensions, threatening peace and stability across East and Southern Africa. Despite swift responses from regional leaders through initiatives like the upcoming EAC-SADC Joint Summit in Dar es Salaam, more decisive measures are needed. We stand in solidarity with the people of DRC, said representatives from civil society organizations. We urge EAC and SADC leaders to take coordinated actions that go beyond communities, actions that will de-escalate violence, enhance diplomatic engagement, provide humanitarian relief while addressing root causes. I'm now going to welcome my brother from the SADC Council of NGO, Lebo, to come in and introduce himself and read for us the key demands for the civil society in this statement. Karibu Lebo.
Thank you, my sister Lillian, and greetings to everyone who has joined us on this call. We want to thank you for taking the time to be a part of this important initiative. My name's Lebogang Kenneth Mabuto, and I represent the Southern African Council of NGOs, more commonly known as the SADC Council of NGOs. I'm the executive director of this organization, and we are the regional umbrella body for civil society operating in the Southern African region or in the SADC region. Before I continue with the statement, just a reminder that we have simultaneous translation from English to French and Kiswahili, and that there'll be questions, time for questions at the end of this press statement. But those who may not get a chance to ask their questions, you are encouraged to use the chat box, maybe to put your questions there, and our team will be able to take note of those questions so that they can be addressed. As we continue with the statement, our key demands are as follows. The first one is the end of hate speech. Leaders must refrain from divisive rhetoric that fuels ethnic divisions. Number two, strengthen diplomatic engagement. We are calling for the implementation of frameworks like the Luanda Roadmap and Nairobi process consistently. Number three, implement ceasefire monitoring. We are calling for the establishment of an independent mechanism under UN sanctions regime. Number four, ensure humanitarian access. We are calling for the restoration of essential services as per international conventions. Number five, protect civilians and rights defenders. We are calling for the upholding of protections under UN Security Council Resolution 1325. We are also calling for the establishment of high-level mediation committee, a neutral committee for direct negotiations between conflicting parties. We are calling for the addressing of root causes, the strengthening of governance mechanisms against illicit mineral extraction and trade. We are also calling for the support of local conflict resolution and national dialogue. And lastly, we are calling for the enforcing of accountability and the ending of impunity. The crisis demands courageous leaders now. And as already mentioned, our signatories have been listed, led by the East African Civil Society Organizations, EAC-SADC, and the Southern African Council of NGOs, the East Africa Law Society, the Pan-African Lawyers Union, and many others that were mentioned by my sister Lillian. I believe our team will put up our contacts for media inquiries, but I will continue to read them nonetheless. For the Southern African Council of NGOs, all inquiries may be directed to myself, Lebogang Mabuto. My email address is lmabuto@safcngo.org. And my WhatsApp is +267 7160 7358. For the East African Civil Society Organizations Forum, you may contact Lillian Alex, and her email address is lillianalex@eaxof.net. Her WhatsApp line is +255 759 723 600. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lebo. That was quite clear and straightforward. At this juncture, now that we have we have gone through the press release, we're also letting the journalists and the other partners present in this meeting know that we have shared it and we are still sharing it via our emails, via the different media platforms. And so from the context that Lebo has just shared, kindly ensure to get in touch and you can let us know if you want more clarity or you want the statement shared to you directly. So at this juncture, we now welcome the questions, but then again, as my brother Solebo has highlighted, you can also share your questions and thoughts and recommendations via the chat. We'll definitely read them out and try and respond to them and also include them where need be. So I'll now give it a few minutes for us to have an open discussion from the partners, the different stakeholders present in this meeting today, to share your thoughts and questions, if any, and to see also to see that you've actually understood and received the press release. And so at this juncture, I think the hosts, you've seen the hands that have been raised. But before I open it up also to the open panels, I would also want to welcome the partner organizations who have jointly developed this statement. If we have any comments or further clarification or recommendations that we wish to share. So at this juncture, I'll welcome the partner organizations. Anyone who wishes to speak? Perfect. I'm seeing on the chats that the statement to the EAC and SADC leaders is now open for signature at the below link. So kindly visit the chats and get the link, and you can sign in the names of your organizations. And the content, as Lebo promised, have actually been put down in the chats. So do we have any of the partner organizations wishing to speak? Kindly let me know before I let it open to the other stakeholders attending. Anyone from Palu, ELS, wishes to speak? Okay, so at this juncture, I'm then going to move the attention to the other attendees attending. That is, if we have any journalists who wish to get any form of clarity or who have any questions, or any other organizations in that case who wish to air out their recommendations. I'm seeing 2 hands raised. Madam, I hope you're paying attention. We have Joyce and Fabrice. So I'll give the opportunity for Joyce to speak. Karibu, Joyce.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Hello, Joyce.
Hello, Lilian. My name is Joyce Lulihoshi. I'm from DRC. I'm currently living in Goma, but I'm in Uganda now for my safety. So I'm representing in this meeting the ALI, the Amazon Leadership Initiative, and we managed to come up with a letter to the Eastern African Community and Southern African Development Community, which is SADC joint. That's I would like to address to you guys. That's those ones who are going to be present to go with our recommendation. And our call to action is to it has been 30 years now that we have been going through violent conflict, and it has cost DRC lives, resources, and now people are forced to be displaced, but also people are struggling to come back to normal. For 30 years, this conflict has have been happening in villages around Goma, but twice in 30 years they have occurred physically into the city of Goma, and this second one has been more has been more violent, and it has cost us 3,000 people who are dead right now, and let me say, people from villages and towns have been displaced in neighboring countries. Others are in Rwanda. As for myself, I started with Rwanda, Gisenyi, then Kigali. Now I'm in Kampala, my safety. But now things are very hard. People are traumatized. Families have been separated. Children, as for me, my family is still in Goma, and I'm here alone. You can understand how devastating is this crisis. So I, with other Congolese young ladies from the Amazon Initiative, the Ali, the Amazon Leadership Initiative, we worked on this call to action to restore peace and stability in the DRC. So we're demanding the following urgent actions from the government represented in the East African community and SADC and the broader international community. And our first demand is to restore the immediate peace efforts, meaning that the government of the region must take immediate action to negotiate a ceasefire of hostilities and ensure the safety and security of the people in DRC. By immediate peace efforts, we also mean conflict resolution must be prioritized through political and diplomatic channels, avoiding further violence. But secondly, we are demanding greater diplomatic solutions from the East African community and SADC countries, meaning that in addition to establishing immediate and effective ceasefires, all parties must engage in diplomatic negotiation to foster sustainable peace, because DRC is paying a very high cost into these conflicts. And by greater diplomatic solution from EAC and SADC countries, we mean women, especially young women who are disproportionately impacted by the conflict, must be actively included in peace negotiation and decision making into these processes. But also, thirdly, we are calling the EAC and SADC countries to end the financing of or any other party or stakeholder that is financing the militia groups in EAC and SADC countries, meaning that member states must take firm action to stop the funding and arming of those groups that continue to destabilize the region. In line with all the regional integration commitments, member states must take full responsibility to resolve the challenges caused by the persistent conflict in DRC, and which are also entrenched by external interference, including Article 4A and H of the Constitutive Acts of the African Union, but also Article 5 and 8 of the Treaty for the Establishment of the East African Community, but also Articles 4 and 6 of the Treaty of the Southern African Development Community. Transparency and accountability measures must be put in place to track and prevent financial and military support to militias. 4, we are demanding the reopening of transport and humanitarian corridors. As you know, in Goma, the airport is not working. Even ships cannot. Even the Lake Kivu is also closed. Ships are not coming. So we are asking for the urgent reopening of transport and humanitarian corridors, meaning that immediate reopening of the Goma airports and other key transportation routes to facilitate the delivery of the humanitarian aid, but also protection of aid of aid agencies and relief effort to ensure that Congolese, including those who have been displaced, as myself, receive the assistance that they desperately need. Number 5, strengthening security and social services. By that, we mean government must increase security efforts to protect civilians and prevent further loss of life. For now, the press is saying that only 3,000 people are dead, but I'm sure, and we are sure that it's even more than that, because other bodies are even decomposing in the city. But also, and they talked about 5,000 injured. That is too much. It's too much, and these conflicts are costing us lives, and it needs to stop by strengthening security and social services. We mean access to healthcare, education, and basic needs must be restored to displaced and affected populations. But also number 6,
rejesho kwa wananchi. 6, tunatoa mwito wa pamoja
violence and protect women's rights during this period of conflicts. By that, we meaning sexual violence as a weapon of war must be condemned and prevented, but also prosecution mechanisms must be put in place. And by collective action to end gender-based violence and protect women's rights, we mean survivors of sexual violence must receive urgent and adequate medical, psychosocial support, and also economic support. And lastly, number 7, we are calling for economic empowerment of women's participation in decision making. By that, we mean efforts must be made to promote women's economic empowerment as a tool for rebuilding and stabilizing community. But also by that, we mean changing societal attitude towards women. Participation in leadership is crucial for lasting peace. But by that also we mean we call on leaders to prioritize women's involvement in promoting and sustaining peace and security. This crisis in the DRC is not just a Congolese issue; it is of regional and global concern. The continued violence, forced displacement, and systematic human rights abuses cannot be tolerated any longer. We as Pan-Africanist young women leaders refuse to stand idly by while our comrades continue, as myself, continue to suffer endlessly. We urge the East African community and SADC leaders to take immediate and tangible actions to bring lasting peace to the DRC. The time for empty promises is over. We demand real impact now. Sincerely, Joyce from the Amazon Leadership Initiative, representing DRC into this meeting. We are surprised to see that the rebels are still controlling the town. They are still controlling the places around Goma, and nobody is saying, like everybody is silent. We don't know what to understand from what is happening right now, and we hope that in this summit that is taking place tomorrow in Nairobi, that tangible actions and tangible solutions are going to be given. Thank you, Lillian.
Thank you very much, Joyce. That was quite intensive and well detailed, and I'm glad to see that the young people from Goma are actually reaching out to speak. And thank you that we also have you from DRC telling the stories from DRC. This is quite intensive and well informed. I am not going to read through all that I've written, but rest assured I've written all the points that you've just gone through. and we'll definitely include them in the larger statement. Thank you very much, Joyce. And I am sincerely I'm sorry for what you're going through, and I hope you're safe in Uganda, and hopefully all this will end and you can go back home. Asante sana, Joyce.
Thank you.
So from the chat again, I saw Fabrice. I'm trying not to open it up so long for so many long comments, but then again, Joyce's comment was very much needed and appreciated. So also try and be brief and share your thoughts. And again, more attention is also given to the civil society or youth representative or even women representative organizations from the DRC Congo. So you're welcome and be direct and precise. Fabrice, karibu. Kindly introduce yourself and the organization you're representing or any group that you're representing in this meeting. Fabrice, your mic is on. You can speak.
Okay, yeah. You hear me, please? Hello?
Hello? Yes, now we can hear you. Yes, Fabrice, go ahead. Hello? Hello, Fabrice? We can't hear you if you're speaking. Okay, while we wait for you to figure out your connectivity, I'm seeing more hands are up. And Joyce, is your hand still up or you forgot to lower it down?
Okay, yes, thank you. Yeah, yes, please. I'm sorry. My name is Fabrice Witandai from DRC also. And a representative of a local civil society organization which calls Action communautaire pour le développement et la cohésion sociale. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And I wanted to take advance of this call to stress the importance of social media. On the one hand, they play a positive role in sharing news at all levels, but on the other hand, I want to insist on the management of the rumors and fake news, as well as managing the trauma of this long running war. So it's time to start creating or shaping a new life for the next generation. So I need to advocate for that. So we need to advocate for more resources to help civil society organization to stay close to the affected population. So this is my point of view. Because yeah, okay, yeah. Go ahead, please.
You can carry on. You're saying because?
Yeah, because the rumor is bad. I think it's a bad thing, and we need to advocate for more opportunity to let community know how to manage and to create a peaceful space for all. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Fabrice. That is well noted. Again, I'm emphasizing and reminding you that there is French and Swahili interpretation. So if anyone wishes to speak in either of the language, you can just say it, and then definitely we'll switch to the channels. So
yes,
feel free to speak in either French or Swahili.
Thank you. Asante sana.
Thank you, Fabrice. I see other hands on the participant list. I see Shaban. Karibu, Shaban. Shaban, your mic is off. Kindly turn it on. Yes, you can speak. It's on. Shaban, we are waiting. We can't hear you, Shaban. It's mute. Okay, as you figure out your connectivity, then let me welcome Paul. I see Paul Bulambo. Karibu, Paul.
Bonjour,
Bonjour, bonjour.
bonjour, je m'appelle Paul Bulambo, je vis au...
Good morning. My name is Paul Bulambo, also from the DRC, and I'm from the South Kivu province. I take proxy from a CSO called Association d'Action de Paix et de Développement Communautaire. Well, I'm very elated to be part of this meeting, which was convened on a short notice, but we deemed it important to take part. However, I'd like to say a word in regards to this platform which you have created, which is of utmost importance for the CSOs, especially those that stand for human rights. Due to the current situation facing the Democratic Republic of the Congo, especially in its eastern regions of Ituri, northern South Kivu, I would like to belabor the role of the frontline human rights activists who are prone to the vagaries that occur in that region. Recently, you know that human rights activists do data collection on cases of abuse, violations, and other insecurity threats hovering on the populations in such situations, but it's often obliterated and thrown into oblivion that these human rights activists suffer a lot of attacks, especially during the discharge of their duties on the field. So mine is a recommendation against this situation to improve on the security of human rights activists, especially in those distinct regions. I would like to invite us to more solidarity and more mutual support, because a lot of human rights activists are victims of threats. Some of our compatriots involved in activisms were threatened. It's been 3 days since we received the report of such an incident. That is why it sparked, it triggered this thought in my mind to throw it to us that we might be forgetting this very important component, the human rights activists, and to call for more support, more solidarity, unison in decrying the sufferings imposed on victims as well as human rights activists. Thank you very much once again for this very beautiful initiative, which is an important platform during these times facing our nation. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Paul. I think you've highlighted one very important issue. Probably we haven't taken that into consideration, but yes, we have totally understood your comment. That is call for solidarity from the civil societies to voice up on the protection of human rights activists, that is the ones within DRC. And I totally agree with you. I've seen a number of different images and videos unfolding on the social medias that have shown quite heartbreaking picture of what is actually happening to anyone who tries to voice up in DRC. And so that is taken into consideration and will ensure to also include it in the larger statement that is to voice up on the protection of the human rights activists. At this juncture, I also welcome Shaban. Has your internet connectivity worked? Yes, Shaban, speak. Your mic is on. Kindly speak so that we can hear you. Hello, Shaban. Okay, at this juncture, we're not hearing you. I don't know what's wrong with the connectivity. Probably it's from your end. I'll just urge you to probably type on the chats your comments, and I'll definitely read them out. If it's a comment or question or recommendation, I'll definitely take that one into account. Yeah. So if you have any comment or recommendation, Karibu. And I'm just, again, reminding you there is simultaneous interpretation. And so if any speaker wishes to speak in any language that you feel that you're comfortable with, you're welcome to speak. It may be Swahili, French, or English. We welcome you to share your comments. There is simultaneous interpretation. So we'll definitely hear and learn of your comments. Any other hands being raised for any recommendations or questions in this instance? Yes, Paul, I see your hand is back up again. Do you wish to speak? Paul? Is your hand up again or it was a technical error? Yes, Karibu, Paul. Paul, I can't hear you if you're speaking. Your mic is on, but I can't hear you. Yes, come. Kindly speak up. We can't hear you. Your voice is faint. Yes, now we can hear you. Yes, hello?
Yes, please. I would like to ask a question in relation to the context facing our country. Will it be possible to hold a very brief workshop with the purpose of building capacity of human rights activists in terms of protection and the use of digital tools to enhance the activities in these trying times? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Your question is around I'm not so sure if your mic is on. I'm only seeing your hand is up. Adam, kindly help.
Yes.
Yes, Karibu.
Hi. Can you hear me, Lillian?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah,
Kindly
sorry
introduce
for coming late.
yourself.
First, thank you very much. My name is Edmund Yakani, President EAC-SADC from South Sudan chapter. First, I'd like to say congratulations, Lillian, for the press conference. I think it's very impressive. And it's good that as a civil society movement, both from EAC and SADC, we are raising, and plus our other colleagues, we're raising up this concern. I think for me, first, I don't like to take a lot of time. I'd like to say thank you for this, and thanks for those who are able to come forward. I think for me, right now, I would like to ask if there's a chances that Lillian, if you can hear from other colleagues, how do we coordinate a meeting, whether we can go physical or virtual or through our chapters, in terms of, I really want to point out two head of states, the chair of EAC and the chair of SADC. If we can go to them as a civil society, meet with them, even if we can have a delegate of 2 or 3 from both from EAC-SADC and from our counterparts from SADC, that we can have these leaders so that we can push physical advocacy and lobby. And I want to see how possible is that if our colleagues from SADC can join. I feel there's a need for us to go physically meet President William Ruto and meet the head of state for the current chair of SADC so that we can pursue them for taking further our advocacy through this press conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Edmund. I've taken that one into account. I've written it down. I hope we can brainstorm on it and probably come up with solutions on that, but definitely that is taken down as next steps, actions. Again, from the participants, I see a hand, Karibu. I see a very interesting hand, Maurice Taebwa from EAC. Karibu, kindly also introduce yourself and share your comments.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, and first of all, to commend you, EAC-SADC and partners. I've read the communique or the statement. It's really very good that you've come up with this initiative, and I think it will go a long way in opening up a conversation within the civil society space on how each of us can contribute within our strengths. And my response was maybe to some of the questions on how to take this further. There are different opportunities which you can use, even in the immediate environment. Next week, there will be a summit for the heads of state at the African Union level. I'm sure DRC, the conflict in DRC and the other conflicts in the African continent will be high on the agenda. So I know there are already civil society forums happening, pre-summit. There will be several side events. So I call upon your partners and also the civil society throughout the whole of Africa to continue mobilizing, utilize the side events, utilize the main sessions, those who get a chance to speak. As you know, it's very difficult to get a chance to speak. Some of the meetings are closed. And those who reach the top echelons, depending on where they stand and where they sit, they can also keep the message that we are engaged. But let also the authorities, governments, regional economic communities, intergovernmental bodies know that the civil society is engaged in this at whichever level, including the media, so that then you can mobilize resources. For us, all we can do from the EAC Secretariat is to always give you the platform if we can, because again, we know that is within our limitations and limits. And we pray that tomorrow is successful in the negotiations. We shall be listening and looking out for the resolution. So let me stop there and thank everyone who has managed to attend, and wish you a good day. We can keep engaging with you. Otherwise, thank you so much, EAC-SADC and all the partners.
Thank you very much, Maurice, and thank you for your commitment. This means a lot to us, to the majority of us present here in this meeting. And we are glad that the EAC is in full support of civil society engagement. That one we appreciate. And I believe you've already seen the statement that we already shared earlier, and we hope will contribute to forming the conversations for tomorrow's summit as well. And thank you for the recommendation on engagements at the AU summit. We will also discuss that further and see how possible we can also form the same conversations, whether it's through side events, as you've said, or seek audience to do a presentation, depending on what is possible. Thank you very much, Maurice, for the guidance and the opportunities presented. Again, I see a hand that is Jean. Jean, karibu. Karibu, Jean. Your mic is still off. Kindly unmute if you're speaking.
Oui,
Yes, you're
oui.
welcome.
Allô?
Yes, we can hear you. Karibu.
Merci beaucoup. C'est Jas Samandari. Je suis le président de l'association Action contre la pauvreté du Burundi. Et je remercie d'abord les participants, mais aussi les organisateurs de cet atelier. C'est pour dire que à telles occasions, il faut toujours en profiter, mais aussi élargir à différentes organisations de l'Afrique de l'Est pour qu'ils puissent donner des points de vue. Et je viens de voir même le document qui est ouvert pour la signature. Je pense que notre voix arrive très loin et nous devons nous mobiliser pour donner notre contribution dans de tels cas où il y a l'insécurité dans nos pays, mais aussi, surtout avec la RDC, mais aussi trouver des moyens pour intervenir aux défenseurs des droits de l'homme qui sont victimes de ces différents conflits en ce moment. Je pense qu'il faudrait qu'au niveau de l'EAC, on puisse multiplier ce genre de cadres, ce genre de cadres d'information où on est là pour s'exprimer et donner nos contributions. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Jean. That was well noted for you, echoing some of the recommendations that have been put forth, and we're taking that into consideration to ensure that we have solidarity, and especially on protection of the human rights activists. That one is taken into consideration, and thank you very much for your comments. I'm looking at the chats as well as we wait for hands. We are coming to an end. It's already 1 hour, and we had set it for exactly 1 hour. Unless there are any burning questions, I see Mr. Paul Belambo has clarified on the question was, would it be possible to organize a capacity building workshop for human rights activists? That was noted. And again, Mr. Don Dare is emphasizing that the link is open for CSO's signature. You can just click on the link and share your thoughts, and also include your signatures there. And yes, and again, more emphasis on the contacts for any media or journalist presence that you can reach to us directly through the email addresses given by Lebo on the chat, and also through our WhatsApp numbers that are also available. So you can keep sharing your thoughts, you can keep up the conversation, you can share your chats. I think we're almost coming to an end, and at this juncture, I would go and give it back to the any of the organizations that have partnered in this press release. Who wishes to speak? I see Mr. Donald Dare's camera is on, so I will welcome you and to share your comments. Karibu, Mr. Don.
Thank you very much to Lillian Alex from the East African Civil Society Organizations Forum, and also our brother Lebo from the Southern African Council of Non-Governmental Organizations for leading us and mobilizing us in organizing this important initiative that we have just started. And I also thank all the people that have spoken, especially the young Africans that have spoken over the last 1 hour. I think the important thing to say is that the people of Africa, all of Africa must intervene and must intervene very robustly to support what our leadership are doing, the East African community, the Southern African Development Community, and also the African Union, and also to push them. And also to push them because they say that they have been engaged, and we have seen the engagements, but clearly it has not been enough. Processes start, but then processes stop, or the parties pull out of the processes. We have the 2009 agreement, we have the Addis Ababa Comprehensive Agreement, we now have the Luanda process, and we also have the Nairobi process, but we see things going up and down. So we really must push our leaders, and we really must demand that we see tangible action, both incentives, but also sanctions to any actor that is intervening in prolonging the violence, in prolonging the violation of human and people's rights, and in prolonging the looting that is going on in the eastern part of the DRC. And just to assure colleagues, because I've seen a lot of the questions are around what next. And we have put in the chat the opportunity for all of you to sign on onto the statement that we have sent. This is a press release, but there was a longer, more detailed communique with very specific asks that we sent to literally all the member states of the East African Community and SADC earlier this morning. And we're going to build on that with follow-up initiatives, follow-up activities, both protection activities and advocacy activities. And for this, we have put in the chat also the contacts of both the Southern African Council of NGOs and the East African Civil Society Organizations Forum, who are the ones who are co-convening us, regional actors, continental actors, and national actors. One of the specific questions that was asked is how we can use courts to assure accountability for what is going on. And just to note that in late 2023, the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo filed 2 cases against the government of Rwanda. One is at the East African Court of Justice, which is here in Arusha, and one is at the African Court on Human and People's Rights, which is also based here in Arusha. And we as civil society, especially as the lawyers associations, PALU at the African level, the East Africa Law Society at the East African level, and the South African Development Community Lawyers Association at the Southern African level, we are examining this to see how we can join these cases, most probably as amicus curiae, as a friend of the court, so we can help the courts to be able to render justice to the people of East and Southern Africa and the Great Lakes region. But other actors, including actors from Congo and even actors from Rwanda, if they want, can also join these cases, either as amicus curiae or as intervener, so that they can provide the court with the facts and evidence of what is really going on, and make pleas on what the courts can do and what the courts can order other actors, the member states, to do to improve the situation, to bring the conflict to an end, and to have sustainable peace and inclusive peace that takes care of everybody in the Great Lakes region, especially everybody in the eastern part of DRC. As has also been pointed out, other actions can be taken apart from the court. So for instance, in the East African community, we do have the East African Legislative Assembly, and we have 9 members of parliament from each of the 8 countries. And we also have our ministers sitting in this assembly. And this assembly is open to receive petitions from citizens. It is open even to hold a public hearing, either before the full assembly or before an assembling committee, such as the Assembly Committee for Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution. So as we continue with our actions as the people of Africa, we can consider when to go there. And as Maurice Taebwa from the East African Community Secretariat has pointed out, and I really thank him for joining us and for pointing out, the African Union Summit is also taking place next week at the ministerial level towards the end of next week, and at the heads of state level over the weekend. So again, relying on other Pan-African actors, we are going to ensure that the voice of the Congolese people and the people of the Great Lakes is actually heard, but also to demand not just talking, but that we see proper action, including incentives and including sanctions from people who have been proven to be violating the agreements or the law of the African Union. So I just urge us, each and every one of us here, to continue with people-to-people solidarity wherever you may be. Our Congolese colleagues are in exile everywhere. They're in Dar es Salaam, they're in Arusha, they're in Kampala, they're in Nairobi, they're in Johannesburg, and everywhere. Reach out to a sister or a brother near you. Afford them the opportunity to be heard. Give them the opportunity to address other citizens at the local level and support them in any way that you can. If we each do this across all the states of Eastern and Southern Africa, which is more than half of Africa, and if we do this across the whole of Africa, and we are persistent and consistent in our demands, we might have this problem resolved in our lifetime. Thank you very much to all colleagues, and a luta continua.
Wow, thank you very much, Don. I think you have actually wrapped up this session and these discussions. You have highlighted very important issues to be considered moving forward. And strongly, I will also echo what you've just said towards the end, that is, reach out and give opportunity to the sisters in DRC to air out their views. And again, I would not differ from that. It's important to have the people from DRC tell their stories and let them speak for what the realities in DRC. Thank you very much, Don. I am trying not to go back to what you've said, but your points are taken. Ensuring, and we definitely need to work closely with the courts, and through your guidance, you, the Pan-African lawyers, and together with the East African lawyers, I hope you'll guide us civil societies to know how we can engage the different courts, the regional courts, that is the EACJ and the African courts, and to see how all together we can form solidarity and raise the voice with the courts. Again, you also brought in very important partners of civil society. And I was really hoping that one or two have joined. I know the communication might have gotten to them a bit later, but I'm aware that we have representatives from the East Africa Legislative Assembly. I have seen at least, I could say, 2 clerks. I'm not so sure if they want to speak. If they are interested, they can raise their hands. But that is also very another important partner of civil society, especially in East Africa. We have worked together a lot on a lot of advocacy measures. So I really hope that we also follow up on that and form strong initiatives to also have all the public hearings. So that one I'm also taking into account. I've also noted a number of many other issues that you've spoken to. Thank you, Don, for the guidance and also letting us know the direction we can take after this meeting. So at this juncture, before I end it, I see again our president's hand is still up. Mr. Edmund Yakani, you can come in and as we finalize this discussion. Karibu, Edmund.
Yeah, thank you, Lillian. Thank you for this. But I just want to pick up from Don's point of view, and I wish Don is still with us. Lillian, what Don have listed as a list of activities, I will wish as a takeaway from here, let's have the immediate ones. Let's have a ranking priorities, which are the immediate spaces that we can occupy, and how can we get our Congolese brothers to speak for themselves in those spaces. So Don, I appreciate the way you list down possible spaces that we can occupy, but I want us to see which one can we see immediately and how can we rally it for our brothers Congolese, and how can we put them in the far front of that. I think for me that's very important, but also remember, if we have our other colleagues from other neighboring countries to DRC, the more we work together for solution finding is much more better than us giving us a chance where we can be politically split. So I will ask my colleagues also, there's a civil society from the neighboring countries. We rally behind all of them who are in the far front of the situation that we have now as instability. So just this my comment to you, Lilian. I don't want to conclude. You can conclude, but otherwise, my statement, thank you very much. And thanks to all partners, everyone. And thanks to Don, to everybody who have commented. On behalf of EAC-SADC, we are so impressed that we will continue this spirit. But my main call, Don, is ranking priority for those spaces, which one immediately when, and what type of support do we need to have at hand, and we can tap to some of our partners, and how do we get our brothers Congolese immediately to the far front. And I hope that our brothers from Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania can join a cost of calling for peace and stability. So we should not dance the tune of our governments. If our governments are dancing the tune of division and subjecting our citizens, as a civil society, we must stand up for the safety, security, and protection of our citizens, regardless of our borders as a community, and also from SADC region. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Edmund. Thank you. That was well echoed. I couldn't speak more to that. I think you've raised your point, and that is well noted. And at this juncture, we at 16:12, I think exactly 1 hour from the time we began, maybe just a 2 minutes, I would say 2 minutes extended. I really thank all of you who managed to join us today. And again, we are really grateful that you joined and listened to our press release, and further also contributed into adding more of the issues that need to be echoed out there. At this juncture, I think we are at the end of this meeting today, unless there is any burning question, and this is just unless for only 1 minute, and I'm only going to give attention to any journalist in the meeting who wishes to speak or ask any question. But as it is, I'm not seeing any hands being raised. And again, as I said, we have the chats where you can share your thoughts, you can share your comments or questions, and we'll definitely see them. And again, as Don has kept on sharing the link, in case you need to share any further recommendations, just click into that link and you can sign in into the statement, the larger statement. We have released a press release, and we have also done a statement that is well detailed that we have also been circulating around. And so we welcome you to indulge and read into the already existing statement that we have shared widely, but also you're welcome to get into the link and see, and also signing into the wider statement that is going to be the wider continental statement. We really are grateful for your participation. We are grateful for your presence to listen. We are grateful for our stakeholders who have been who have also joined the EAC, the East Africa Legislative Assembly, and the wider civil society organizations present. I recognize the presence of civil societies from across the East Africa region. I recognize the presence of civil society from the SADC region, and strongly also appreciate the presence of the civil society from the Democratic Republic of Congo. That one was quite a huge milestone. We know how it is hard for you to access the different media. Or I would say the network is very challenging currently, given the instability, but we appreciate your presence and we appreciate your thoughts, and all have been taken into account. So before I wrap up and say that the meeting is closed, I welcome my brother from SADC, Lebo. You have any parting comments before I wrap up the meeting? Karibu, Lebo.
Karibu. Thank you so much, Lillian, and thank you to the many colleagues that have spoken. I think a lot of the points have been covered. Ours is to say we are here, we are ready. And I really thank EAC-SADC as well for this continued spirit of cooperation, interregional cooperation on matters that affect our continent. And we really welcome anyone who is willing to partner with us as we look at the next steps. And we encourage that solidarity that has been repeatedly called for. I like especially the point that was made by the president of EAC-SADC that where our member states, where our governments may be doing things in a manner that might call for division. As civil society, let's always call our people back to unity, because we can only achieve a lot for our people and for our region and our continent if we are united. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lebo, and thank you for your comment, and you've stressed this very well. We welcome any partnerships to carry on the next steps from today, and we really appreciate your support as well, the SADC Council of NGOs. And I know we already have a partnership, but we're really glad that today we are doing this together. That is the two RECs, and we are actually echoing the voice for civil society, but also for the people in DRC. And we hope that this partnership actually grows further from here into working together on the next steps. So I thank you again all. I thank all the stakeholders. I thank all the partners present, the civil societies from all the region, that is EAC and also SADC. We truly appreciate your presence. And for any media houses or journalists present, we really thank your efforts, and we are glad that you keep on working on sharing our statement out there. But also, finally, I would also like to thank also the PALU, that is Pan-African Lawyers, for hosting this meeting. I know this has been very short notice, but we've worked together and managed to pull this through, but also all other partners together in this statement. That is the 10 organizations that I mentioned. I thank you for your endless support, sharing your thoughts. And it has been last minute again, as we said. We really hoped to have a physical meeting in Dar es Salaam, but we did the best that we could, and we have shared the report largely. And we believe that our reports, our statement has actually reached the table of ministers, and hopefully will be considered in the summit tomorrow. So we thank you all for your efforts, and we thank you for your support, and I welcome you all to sign in onto the larger statement, and all together we can brainstorm and come up with supporting methods on how we take forward the next steps that have actually just been highlighted in today's meeting. I thank you and wish you a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend ahead. Let's keep in touch, and please stay aware. We'll be sharing a lot of information moving forward. And in case of any questions, you have seen our contacts. That is the emails, the phones. You can reach out to us, and we can carry on the conversation. And also thanks to our interpreters. That has been very helpful and supportive today. Asanteni, and wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you.